If you've bought a Bionicle set before, you're probably familiar with some of the launchers or kind of gimmick play features that they come with. I mean, they're tons of fun, and they all revolve around the idea of a projectile piece being launched out. But of all of these gimmicks, which one is the best? Well, in this video, let's rank them. I've got some categories today to give all of these an individual score, and we'll figure out which one is the best and which is the worst. Let's check them out and see who will emerge victorious. So I suppose we should just go through these in order. We got ourselves 10 different launchers that we're going to be talking about today, and the very first one, it actually came on some of the McDonald's Happy Meal McTorin sets, which fans of course refer to as the McTorin. It's quite a simple mechanism. You load the disc into the hand, you pull it back, and it swings forward. It's quite charming in its simplicity, isn't it? So these came out in 2001, although technically we saw similar designs in some of the Slicer sets that predate Bionicle. But in this video we're just focusing on Bionicle play features. But this disc launcher concept did actually return in 2004, but with some modifications. Now the discs were placed inside a larger disc launcher. You simply push down on both sides and the disc flies forward. We saw a few different variations and styles of this disc launcher, all of which looked great. Although one of the coolest ones has to be the Vaki, where the disc was stored kind of inside their mouth. Okay, sure, it's a great concept, but let's judge them. Got 4 categories. The first one is fun. Is this fun to play with? Absolutely. The way that they launch out is just addicting to play with. And even the collectability of these discs, that was fun. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to load the disc into the McTorin's hand. It's not the most snug connection, but all in all, I think these are great. 4 out of 5 points. Next, can these pieces be used in custom LEGO creations? What's the mocking potential or the mockability of these pieces? Well, Sadie uses these disc launchers for a very cool scarf, but they're also being used here for a nice leg design as well. Isn't that cool? So yeah, with that in mind, I think they're great. Unfortunately, there are a lack of connection points on the disc itself, or at least more traditional connection points. So that does make it a little bit harder to use them in a mock. Harder, not impossible, but because of this, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 points. Another important factor is how easily you can find these projectiles after launching them. Can they be easily lost? Now, I've never really lost these pieces before, and the fact that they often glow in the dark does make it a lot easier for you to locate them later. But they are quite lightweight, and they do travel pretty far depending on how you launch them, which can lead to them getting lost. It's not common, in my experience, but it does happen. So with that in mind, 4 out of 5 points. And finally, how much damage can they do? Let's put it to the test. If we fire it at Lacan, will he fall over? Well, not so much. Although the McTorin actually packs quite a punch. Look at how he pushes him back like that. Good job, Jalla. But look, the point is it has to knock him over. That'll give you 5 out of 5 points. But it doesn't. 2 out of 5 points. It did some damage, but not enough. So let's add up these scores, and in total, we've got 13 out of 20 possible points. That's a strong start. The next launcher we have is the Ratuka Spinner. So this is tons of fun to play with. You pull that ripcord and the spinner goes flying. Sometimes it does get a little stuck and it doesn't always launch out, so with that I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 points. And another reason that it's not a perfect score is that I've always found it very hard to hit your enemies with the Ratuka Spinner. You really have to bend the Toa Hordika over like this so that they can actually fire in a straight line and hit the target. And even then it doesn't really hit the target. And good luck bending the Visorak over, that's not really something you can do. So with that, 1 out of 5 points for damage being dealt. Especially because when it does hit, it doesn't do much. In terms of findability, how likely is this to get lost? Well, the disc does go very far. There's times I do this and it hits the ceiling, which is oodles of fun, but yeah, because of the distance that this can cover, you better believe that it gets lost very easily. In fact, I lost one of these when I recorded this video, unfortunately. So with that in mind, 1 out of 5 points. But can this be used in your own custom creations? You bet your sweet bippy it can. You can take some of these ripcords and use them for some funky spider legs. I like how that looks. And actually, the creation we saw before, it used the spinner piece for a kind of scarf. I like that. However, there's not really a lot of connection points on the spinner itself. And yeah, people do use these pieces in mocks, but it's not all that common to see them being used. So with that in mind, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 points. Not the easiest thing to build with, but still you can get good stuff with it. All in all, that is a total of 9 points. Ooh, not so hot. But I still like the Ratuka Spinner, even with its faults. Now for a true classic, it's the Zamosphere Launcher. This one has 2 different variants. The first one is your standard Zamosphere Launcher that can fire 1 Zamosphere. These mostly popped up in some of the Paraka sets. And then the Toa Anika boasted a larger cage that could be attached on top that allowed you to store even more Zamospheres. So of course, launching this is so much fun. Especially with this larger tower, just popping them out like that, the best. 4 out of 5 points. The reason it's not a perfect score is because, well, if you try to pose these figures too much or move them around, the Zamospheres will very much fall out, which is a little bit of a shame. There's a simple fix for this. You just get a couple pieces like this, attach it on top, and they're not going to go anywhere. But the set doesn't come with those pieces, so yeah, because of that, it's going to lose a few points. And while we're talking about the balls rolling away, when we're talking about findability, yeah, these get lost kind of easily. The rounded shape of them means that it rolls under the couch. Once you fire it, they just keep going even when they hit the floor. They're good, but they're very easy to lose. 2 out of 5 points. However, can they knock over Lacan? Oh, yes, they can. I mean, dude, these pack a punch. 5 out of 5 points. But what about using these elements in your own creations? Well, I quite like what Gringat has done on these bites. They're creations that incorporate the Zamospheres as a kind of eye design. I'm only showing you a couple of the ones that him and Shadowgear 6335 have built, but the both of them have used every color and every variant of a Zamosphere to make some sort of interesting character. The collectability of these, the customization opportunities, there's so much here, it's great. And I've seen people use that cage piece for a kind of rib cage or skeletal design. Some good parts right here. 5 out of 5 points. Now adding that all up, we get to 16 points. Hey, we got ourselves a current winner. But is there a better gimmick out there than the Zamosphere Launcher? Well, you'll just have to wait and see. Moving on over to the Toa Mari and their fantastic Cordac Blasters. I mean, how good does Kongu look when he's holding 2 of these bad boys? They look good, and when you actually play with them, they get even better. Just emptying this thing out is a lot of fun. 5 out of 5 points. Does this do a ton of damage though? Can it knock over Lacan? That's the real test. No, it can't. I kind of thought this would actually do it, but yeah, I guess they're too lightweight. Oh well, 2 out of 5 points. It did at least knock him around a little bit. Oh yeah, and then finding these once you've launched them. Well, unfortunately they're a little bit tiny. The small size of these parts means that, yeah, they're not the easiest thing to spot. And since you're launching so many of them, you're definitely going to lose at least 1 or 2. I certainly have before. However, I do appreciate that the set gives you a lot of extras, and you even can put them on the body, which looks relatively stylish. So I'm gonna give this 2 out of 5 points. Easy to lose, but they do look cool. So what about using this piece in your own creations? Well, we've got a mock here by Shadowgear 6335, and he embeds them into the torso in a very satisfying way. But yeah, this is one of very few times I've seen this piece being used. And for that, I'm gonna give it a lower score. The other launchers are just, I don't know, way easier to naturally integrate into your other creations. And people just tend not to use this. So let's tally up those points, and now we've got 11 out of 20. That's not awful, but it's still not beating that Zamosphere Launcher. Moving on over to the Squid Launcher. So look, I think the idea is very clever. Everything's underwater themed, and you got these bad guys loading up squids into their blasters. That's fun. So okay, you can launch them with some ease, but they're also very hard to fire at the same time. It's very unpredictable. They get stuck on the launcher, they can fly off in random directions, and you really gotta stretch these pieces to launch them, which actually can lead to them breaking. And that happened to me as I was recording this. So with all that in mind, from a fun perspective, it's probably a 2 out of 5. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's really bad. At least the squid idea is clever. Now sadly, Lacan cannot get knocked over because, well, it just doesn't hit him all that hard. Yeah, it doesn't leave that kind of satisfying knock when it hits him. Oh well, 1 out of 5. The findability of this part, is that even a word? Did I make that up? So, okay, look, the squids, they're made of rubber. So with that in mind, they don't roll around all that much. They're not gonna roll under the fridge or under the couch, whatever. So that's good. But because they fire out in all sorts of weird directions, they do end up in all sorts of random locations. So it's a little hard to keep track of them. Plus, this piece definitely looks the least like a Lego piece. It's quite likely that if someone finds this under the couch, they're just gonna throw it away, which means you'll never find it ever again. So with all this in mind, it will be getting a bit of a lower score. They can be used quite well in mocks though. Here's a fantastic tiger that uses a bunch of them for this cool looking back design. I mean, that's great. But that being said, this is another piece that it's not all that common for people to use. The same can be said for the squid. And as well, there's not a lot of connection points on that squid, which makes it a little bit limiting to use. With all this in mind, I'm gonna have to give it a 2 out of 5. So adding all that up, yeah, that's the lowest score so far. Sorry, Squid Launcher. But maybe we can make things up with the Midax Sky Blaster. Visually, this looks great. A more modest, realistic color scheme, and hey, the fact that you can load up 4 Zamospheres inside of this? That's sick. Plus too, they're nice and compact inside that. They're not gonna go flying out like the Zamosphere Launcher did. I can appreciate that. And this thing packs a punch as well. They really shoot out of this. 5 out of 5. And yeah, as you would expect, this of course does deal a lot of damage. You better believe Lacan's not standing up after this. 4 out of 5 points. Should that have been a perfect 5? Well, not quite. I did find as I was shooting this that I got very scared that I was gonna lose the Zamospheres. Which to me does affect things, doesn't it? This is the same issue as the Zamosphere Launcher. They fly out at great speeds, and they go rolling around once they've landed halfway across the room. And then you lose track of where they are, and they're gone forever. And like I said, the Midax Sky Blaster launches these things, so it's a little scary. With all that in mind, 2 out of 5 points. But we're gonna make up for that with the mockability of this piece. Here's a creation by Max Howell that uses these pieces for a funky arm design. We've also got 2 of them on the back as a kind of gas tank. The ability to use this for something that isn't a weapon is sensational. I think that's what I'm looking for in this category. Tons of other uses across so many different mediums, and this ticks that box. 5 out of 5 points. Oh man, that actually makes the Midax Sky Blaster tied with the Zamosphere. We got 2 winners going on right here, neck to neck. Can something beat these guys? Maybe, we'll have to see. The Ninro Ghost Blaster. This is an interesting one. Here you press down on a pump at the back that launches the projectile forward. It's a little bit more air-based. Funky, it's different. I can get behind that. 5 out of 5 points. I love to see something different. Sadly though, this doesn't really do much damage. Lacan is still standing and he just kind of brushes this off. As satisfying as it is to launch this, the end result here kind of makes it a little bit less satisfying. 2 out of 5 points. How easy is this to find though? Well, it's a larger piece, so that helps you spot it more quickly and easily, which is always good. Although actually, as I recorded this video, I lost one of these and still cannot find it. So with that in mind, I guess I gotta give this a 3 out of 5. But, this can be used very well on a creation like the one that Sadie has made here. Turning it into a very mechanical looking leg design, I love to see it. This element of course does have the connection point on the back, but otherwise people don't really use it all that much. It's just kind of an obscure and weird looking piece. Doesn't mean it's not useful, but it's not used all that commonly. So with that in mind, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. All in all, that's 14 points for you. Very nice. The Trax Pod is a funky one. Some of the Makuta have it embedded in their torsos. It's held together with this rib cage. What you do is you simply pop the ribcage at the back, and the Trax Pod falls out, landing on your enemies. The pod actually splits apart, and inside you see these little shadow leeches. I mean, look, the gimmick is a lot of fun, very creative, and quite different from what we've seen before. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 points. I'm doing this though because after you've launched it, I don't know, they don't look quite the same without the Trax Pod in the middle. They look a little naked, a little unfinished. And I don't feel like the other sets have that issue once you've launched them. From a findability perspective, yeah, it can be very easy to lose the shadow leeches given how small they are. And also, you know, the minute that Trax Pod hits the floor, it bursts open and they fly everywhere. So with that in mind, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 points. Because, yeah, the pod is a lot larger and harder to lose. The main issue are those leeches. From a damage perspective, it really just kind of bonks him on the head. It doesn't do that much. It is cool that the shadow leeches fall all over him. That's nice. But look, the whole point of this category is, will it knock over Lacan? It does not, so that means 1 out of 5. It would have been a 0, but, you know, it at least does something. So 1 point for that. But hey, these parts are great. This ribcage piece is phenomenal. Continuing to use it as a ribcage, it looks great. And anytime you get a big old translucent orb is a great time. You can use this as some kind of power effect as your Toa or custom character launches an attack. They're good pieces. 4 out of 5. So that's good. Moving on over to the Thornax Launcher. See, this takes a lot of inspiration from that Zamosphere Launcher, but changes it up in some very, very good ways. And changing it up to a big old spiky ball? Heck yes, 5 out of 5. But when we hit Lacan, it actually doesn't knock him over, which is surprising. I really thought it would. It still packs a punch, you can see it does damage, but not enough. I'm going to give it 2 out of 5 points here. How easy is it to use this piece? Well, if you remember those bites from before, Gringat has made an infected one that uses this for its eye. I mean, that's just clever. And then the launcher piece itself. Check out this Taraga Doom revamp that uses this element for robes. I mean, even just the texture of this piece, it's great for mechanical details. There's so many ways you can use all of these pieces. 5 out of 5. In terms of findability, the fact that this is rubber and it has those spikes, it means that it's going to grip to the floor and it's not going to roll away and get lost. I've never lost one of these, ever. After launching them, they pretty much always are close by. 5 out of 5. So in total, that gives us 17 points. We have a new winner. Oh, I do love the Thornax Launcher. It's so good. Now, it is worth noting too that this concept continued to be explored into Hero Factory sets. Unfortunately, they abandoned the Thornax piece and went back to Zamospheres, which is fine, but you know my issue with those. They roll away and it's very easy to lose them. Still, the actual launcher piece itself and all of its different evolutions, it looks really good. And our last entry today, we're moving over to the second generation of Bionicle. We have the Stud Shooters. These pieces actually appeared in a lot of system sets as well, but it was very prominent across a lot of G2. But is it better than that Thornax Launcher? Well, it is very fun to play with. Simply rotating this and watching all of those studs pop off, it's electric. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 points. Why is it not a perfect score? Well, as fun as it is, those studs are so easy to lose. They're so tiny and they launch at such a fast speed. Every time I fire these, I pretty much always lose 1 or 2. So obviously in the findability category, it's a 1 out of 5. And unfortunately that does affect the fun of it. As nice as it is to launch them, I don't want to do it because I know I'm going to lose some. But can it knock over Lacan? Let's find out. Nope. I mean, it really feels like they're doing nothing to Lacan. He doesn't even move. They just bounce off of him like it's nothing. It's such a shame. It takes what's a really fun play feature and makes it just feel kind of lame. This is going to be our first 0. But I think the saving grace for this set is that the pieces are very helpful. Studs are so easy to use across so many different mocks. Glowing eyes, heart lights, headlights on the front of a truck, whatever. And then the rest of it, I really like what Mitch Henry has done here, continuing to use them the way they were intended. That looks so good. And I've seen other people use them as, arm designs, greeble effects, all kinds of stuff. The pieces are great. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. Although one pretty big letdown about this piece is this grey part, the little bit in the center. You actually can't remove that. Once you place that piece inside, it's not coming out. I don't really know why LEGO did that, but that's how it works. A little bit of a shame, so as a result, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 for mockability, because everything else is still pretty good. So here we go, the final score for that G2 launcher. Not great, but not the worst. So that's all of them. And our winner today, of course, it's that Thornax Launcher with a beautiful 17 out of 20 points. And our loser today is the Squid Launcher, only getting 7 out of 20 points. But hey, they're all fun and exciting in their own unique ways, and the sets that these launchers are attached to, they're fantastic. I don't know, this was fun to rank all of these and see which was the best and which was the worst. I had a good time. I hope you did too. So thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to take a look at the links in the description below and see more from the builders that I spoke about today. Happy building, and bye for now.